Thank you all for attending this. I think this is the third community call with the wonderful community ambassadors. We have here Daniel Keller from Casino Coin, of course, and he's been hosting previous calls for those of you that have joined us for those. We also have here today Hussein, also known to most of you as Vet, who is one of our brand new community ambassadors. So we're very, very pleased to welcome Vet to the program. And, obviously for those of you that know him, he interacts quite frequently on here, is really, really engaged. So we think he's going to make a terrific addition to the overall program. So everyone, please join me in welcoming Vet, and feel free to engage with him as an ambassador here moving forward. So we're very pleased to have him hosting this call as well.
Yeah, thank you for introducing me and Daniel. Really appreciate the call and everybody coming up and having time for it.
Before I turn things over, I'll stop talking here in a second. As per usual, I'll turn things over to Vet and Daniel to talk to our guests. We've got Thomas today from the XRP Ledger Foundation. I think we'll also have Daniel, who many of you know as Nixer, joining us. And then we have some folks from Peersis here as well that'll be talking about bridges and that sort of thing here in a bit. But before we get into that, I just want to announce we do have Apex coming up here. That's the XRP Ledger Developer Conference. It's co-sponsored by the XRP Ledger Foundation as well as Ripple. That's going to be September 6th to 8th in Amsterdam. They're going to have a call for speakers coming out soon. So if you've got projects, or other things that you want to highlight at that developer conference, please feel free to keep an eye out for that. You can sign up for alerts on the website as well, and also register for the conference. Their registration will be opening, here in the next couple weeks to months after the call for speakers comes out probably. But the website is apexdevsummit.com. And please do check that out. Please consider coming to Amsterdam. It would be terrific to see everyone in person. 2022 Apex was absolutely fantastic, getting to meet everyone in person. And, there's a lot of potency that comes when we can all talk about our different projects and activities together and, build off that together. So I will hand things over now to the community ambassadors and get myself off of this stage. As Abner mentioned earlier, this call is being recorded. It will be posted to the XRP Ledger Foundation YouTube channel. And if anybody has any questions during the call, please go ahead and post those questions into the community call question text channel. It's right in the Discord there above the actual community call voice channel that everyone's in now. So I'll be looking at those questions and then posting relevant ones into Daniel and Vet so they can ask them to our guests or answer them live during the call. Thank you all so much. I appreciate everyone joining us. So I will head out and head it over now to the ambassadors. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you, Scott, for a nice introduction and also the announcement of Apex. Really excited for that. And we will start kicking off with the NFT section today. And we're going to have Thomas going to chime in on the recap and analytics side. And also later on, Nixer with the fixes for the amendments that are right now in RippleD 1.10.0. We're going to start it off, I think, Daniel, with looking at the marketplace side of things, where we're coming from, and what's currently the development so far since XS20 activation.
Yeah, a warm welcome from me to everyone as well. Let's kick this off. And I think you are actually the best person in this call to give us your opinion and a quick rundown on the marketplace side of things.
Yeah, sure. I think everybody has seen with the XS20 activation that the expectations, I think, were not really met when we got XS20 activated. We have seen since, in my opinion, a lot of development, a lot of engagement from the community side to develop or make things work and figure out. And from a platform side, in my opinion, there is still a lot of things to do. I would say the confusion, I think, is usually in and maybe metadata standards, or how to, good practices in general, not necessarily with XLS 20 per se, like the standard. We have seen some issues with the broker. There have been some side effects that have been addressed, but nothing, I would say, too critical, of course, else it would have been addressed way earlier. But marketplaces are continuing to develop, continue to build out features, in particular tools. And in the beginning, it was very difficult from a non-technical user perspective to transfer NFTs just from one wallet to another. I think this got by now solved. Every platform or X apps, a bunch of them will offer them or are already offering those services. And so I think we have come along quite good so far with that. But there's still a lot to do from a marketplace side. A lot of things that we try, I think, or many try to make work on the XRPL, but these functions just simply don't exist. Which is not bad. It's just a matter of working with what you have, rather than trying to maybe force things and compromise on security and other points, which should be never an option, because we all care about the reputation of the ledger. We are here for a long term, and we don't want to sacrifice features for reputation, and that should not be an option.
Yeah, I know Thomas is going into some of the statistics, which will give us some insights on how the overall performance of the ecosystem is in terms of NFTs. But I think it's safe to say that we underperformed, given the anticipation up on activation and the amount of projects that issued IOUs and all that stuff. I'm a bit disappointed on the numbers. However, just from my point of view, in the last 4 weeks, the numbers have increased quite a lot, especially if you look at how many people own an NFT. But like I said, Thomas is going to give us more insight into that. Just a quick question, because that's always a hot topic on Twitter. What's your thought process on outstanding IOU mints for NFTs? So projects that issued an IOU and still in redemption.
Yeah, I have no really clear opinion on that, because I know that some do also deal with legal implications because they sold the tokens to people, but others just gave them away for free. So there's two opinions there, or two approaches that people went. I know that many did announce indeed a deadline of IOU redemptions, which mean they will come to an end to be redeemed for an NFT. I do see why they're doing it, because they want to have a mint out collection. This is something been seen in the community as something positive or desirable. But nobody really knows what the implications after that is, because it's hard to see how many people will actually then show up and come, hey, I want to redeem. I was in prison for 1 year or whatever, and I want to redeem my NFT. I think that's to be seen what the effect is.
Yeah, curious to see how projects will handle that. I know a couple ones, like you said, are just cutting off the date, which I think from one perspective is quite understandable. Another point of view could be, well, I bought something which is an IOU, which means literally I owe you, right? So I would expect that I can redeem this at some point in time. But yeah, I'm curious to see how that works out. Also, what legal implications will be there. So
yeah, I just want to also just want to say that, because there are sometimes questions or people approaching me with this. You should not do this anymore. So please don't issue IOU tokens for redemption for an NFT. We have the standard already. So please use it, and use XLS 20. Use the native NFT standard. There's no need to do the IOU scheme as just headaches, and it's not ideal. Just use the standard. We have it already.
So before we let Thomas up, what's your, just in 2 sentences, what's your overall feeling for the NFT ecosystem?
Yeah, I think it needs a lot of work. I still think it needs a lot of work to have the same experience as on other chains. Ideally, you should not even notice that you are, really on the XRPL, because the tooling and the development is so far already that everything is on a layer below, and everything else is handled perfectly. We are not there yet.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the same page as you, Thomas. You ready to give us some statistics?
Hi. Well, yeah, sure. First of all, I'm happy that you already talked about marketplaces and stuff like that, because that's not my forte. So I'll try to give a few insights purely from a number perspective, so not from a quality or quantity perspective and stuff like that. So I'll post a link now in the chat to some charts and some data. I shared it on Twitter a few days ago as well. And then I'll try to see if I can share my screen here.
Yeah, and for people who don't know, I don't know if people don't know, but Thomas is a member of the XRPL Foundation, and he's head of analytics and compliance there.
Yeah, and this is the same website as I just shared in the chat, so you can also just open it in your own browser and have a look. So these, it's almost an anniversary for XLS20. This data was prepared on March 21, so about a week ago, and back then it was 4 months and 20 days since the amendment was activated. So now it's basically 5 months. So 5 months anniversary, that's nice. So I've summarized some of the key stats that you can draw from the ledger about these XLS20 NFTs. So 4,000 accounts has issued just over 1 million NFTs since the amendment was activated. And of these 1 million, close to 200,000 NFTs was then burned. So the current statistic is that roughly 19,000 different accounts are holding a combined 900,000 NFTs. And then I've summarized in some keywords that 400,000 NFTs was minted on behalf, meaning that it's using the NFT token minter utility of the ledger. And after being minted, roughly half of the NFTs has been moved, changing accounts. So 500,000 moves of NFTs, but only roughly 75,000 of these were sales. And then to further reduce the numbers, we have 80,000 NFTs that has been moved more than once. So if an NFT has changed hands more than once, that has happened 82,000 different NFTs, and 44 number of changing hands is the maximum for any NFT. So this was just to kick off like in a summary basis. Please let me know if you have any questions already. Otherwise, I'll just start scrolling down the statistics, and please interrupt me if you want to discuss anything.
No, it's good. I think what's kind of astonishing is for me is close to 200,000 NFTs burned. That's quite a lot burned.
Yeah, if you look on the, I'm working on a different project with a lot of these data things, and especially the quality of NFTs and stuff. So there have been a couple of issuers who issued like over 21,000 garbage NFTs, which means they just put random words in the UI field and just kept minting for like a full day, and it's all crap. And a lot of people just didn't test stuff on DevNet, so they tested on production, figured they did something wrong, and then they burned the stuff again. Which nothing wrong with that, but that's another thing which drives me a bit insane, because testnet was up for so long and people couldn't be bothered to test the stuff on testnet. I think, and Thomas has probably a better insight, I think the burn rate has gone down. Yeah, if I look at the chart, it's not as high as it was in the beginning.
Yeah.
I think
kind of
the burn rate has gone down, but I think it might also be a side effect of the mainnet actually being so cheap. You can use it very cheaply, so there is no need to test it on a separate DevNet, right?
Yeah. I think it's very important to highlight here the usage of the NF token minter and the account set that you mentioned, Thomas, because you can then do something like a lazy mint or mint on demand. So when actually a buyer shows up, you mint for him. Is better when if you mint 20,000 NFTs and you figure out nobody wants them and then you burn them. So yeah.
Right. So diving a bit more into the data, I just want to let everybody know that if you hover this gear icon in the top right, you can tap View Plot, and then you'll see this in full screen and also the data behind it. So you can download the CSV files and dig into the data. So behind this chart, there is a lot of different data. This actually includes all currencies that has been used to trade NFTs and the volume, the earnings it has generated for the NFT sellers, and also broker fees and royalties and stuff like that. But what I wanted to highlight from this is on the y-axis is the number of sales in one currency, and on the x-axis is the number of NFTs, or distinct number of NFTs. So if I zoom in here in the bottom left, we see a lot of different currencies. We have something called OCW. I don't know what it is, but it has been used for 21,000 sales and has sold 21,000 NFTs. So this is definitely a token that has been used as a swap kind of token, as you discussed before. Because if the ratio is 1-to-1, then it has only been used once per NFT, if that makes sense. So if I zoom out again, we can see one here that is a bit off of the perfect ratio. This is HADA, which has been, so it has been used in 3,300 sales, but only for 2,400 NFTs. And we'll see the same not perfect ratio for XRP. If we scale out, it's up here. So it has been used in 117,000 sales, but only of 107,000 different NFTs. So I find that kind of interesting, that it's so easy to see what kind of utility the different tokens that has been used for trading has been, and also somehow disappointing that we haven't seen more sales maybe in different currencies.
Yeah, that's correct. I think I mean you have here also a mints, right, as a sale, because the initial transfer or redemption of an NFT is then a sale. But I think also all the secondary is 99%, I would say, almost always XRP.
Yeah, in these numbers, we only have the that would be sales.
Yeah.
So let me see. So if we scroll a bit further down, I don't think we have time to go through everything. This is so please dig into this after the call as well. The top 50 earners by type, XRP only. So the different accounts that has earned on sales. So all the blue bars are sales, and all the red bars are royalties, and the green ones are broker fees. So you can kind of dig into who's generating most money on NFTs on the ledger. Keeping in mind that some entities may be using multiple different accounts. So, but that's could be interesting to dive into as well. Some of the things that I find interesting is the things like this NFT interactions. So trying to narrow down to 4 different interactions you can do with NFTs on the ledger. You can mint it, you can trade it, you can move it, and you can burn it. And this chart shows weekly over time for the past 5 months the different interactions that has been made with NFTs. So it started off on a high note because of all the anticipation of the launch, and then already the week after it dropped kind of hard and has had some smaller spikes since then.
Yeah, you know what is interesting here is the traded, I think, line, because that seems to start kind of low and keeps that way from the beginning. Let's say.
So I'll just filter the other ones out. Yeah.
Yeah. So it kind of indeed follows the trend. So after the first week of hype, basically, we see a movement down and bottoming.
Correct. So let's see on distinct accounts using NFTs. So this is the weekly, also again on a weekly basis, the number of distinct accounts that has made all of these interactions. So in the first week, these 250,000, that's 300,000, 300 to 400,000 different interactions in the first week was done by 6,500 different accounts. And I think this line of distinct accounts interacting with the NFTs follows the same pattern as the interaction. So more interest from more accounts to begin with, and it has kind of declined since then.
I mean, everyone was hyped at the beginning, and it's maybe we should highlight that as well. Before the amendment came live, validators have been a bit concerned about everyone going in hard in the beginning and causing some sort of issues with their mints, but luckily that never happened.
Yeah. Actually, one of the concerns, I'll just skip this one, because one of the concerns initially was kind of when NFTs launch, there will be a huge pressure on the ledger with a lot of transactions, and can the XRP ledger actually handle all this load? So this chart illustrates that pretty well. The red line is non-NFT related transactions, while the blue line is NFT related transactions. So minting, burning, offer accepting, creating offers, etc. There hasn't been a huge impact on transactions on the ledger after the amendment. So that worry kind of was a waste.
I mean, it's better to be safe than sorry, right? So I'm happy that it played out the way it did.
Yeah. So in this week you can see close to 200,000 transactions related to NFTs versus the 10.4 million other transactions. So it's a huge difference.
Is the data source making a difference on the other transactions? Is there a way for us to see what are payments, what are offers that are created, offers deleted, that kind of stuff, or is that accumulated?
This is accumulated in this one, but I can export the data to show it, but that's probably more interesting over the entire history than just related to the NFT volume. So this data has been cut off to start when NFTs was amended. Yeah. So also another kind of view on the popularity of NFTs is the total number of accounts, different account, distinct account that are using NFT growing over time. So the blue line is accumulating the total distinct number of accounts interacting with NFTs on the ledger, closing at roughly 21,000 accounts over this 5-month period. And the red bar shows it by week. So the number of new accounts joining the NFT ecosystem, so to speak.
Yeah, that's a nice graph, and it correlates with my feeling where we had like between December and March 14th a slower growth, jumping from 15 to 20, and now in the last days we made quite a huge jump. If you just look at the scale, I mean that might flatten out in the coming days, but it is that's what I felt as well. So we're picking up in the last few days.
Okay, so this was basically what I prepared. If we have more time, we can dig into this, which is also kind of funny. The distribution of NFTs, where we have accounts versus NFTs. So you have a number of accounts holding number of NFTs on this axis. So you have one account that is holding 58,000 NFTs. And on the other end of the scale, you have 5,000 accounts, each holding one NFT. So this kind of shows the distribution of NFTs, where of course the first accounts where a few accounts hold a lot of NFTs will typically be the issuers. While when you start going through the x-axis, you'll see at some point it's not issuers anymore, it's actually collectors. So from this you can maybe identify a core group of what you will define as core collectors on the ledger, because 5,000 accounts only holding one NFT might not qualify as a core NFT collector, but accounts holding more than 5 might, depending on how you view it. So that could be a way to use this chart to dive into those numbers.
Yeah, that's an interesting visualization of it. So you can see the concentration of NFTs.
Yeah, that's a really great statistic. I mean, I'm gonna steal the raw data because that's some of the stuff I'm very interested in to figure out when a specific account came in, what they're interested in, what NFTs they hold, and how they develop over time. So I haven't thought about that. That's a really good one. Thanks for the idea.
Thomas, I have a question for you from the chat. So there's a question: Are there data segregated by different NFT marketplaces? Which marketplaces are doing the most volume?
That's not anything we have, because the ledger itself doesn't really differentiate between marketplaces. Some marketplaces are using several different accounts, and some are not, and some are using the taxon qualifier to differentiate between what you would refer to as collections, and some are not. So the way the marketplaces are using the actual ledger is very different. So that requires a lot of added knowledge to kind of segregate that.
Yeah, but you had one chart, I think, that showed accounts that earned a lot of broker fees or something. This might be then if one of the people in the chat
I'll try to
might be a good hint to see who owned a lot of broker fees, if the marketplace owned broker fees, to see to dig into those accounts if somebody's interested in that.
Exactly. You can dive into it. This is top 50, and if you tap the data here on top, you can see the different accounts, what they earned, how many NFTs were sold, and what the average and median prices and stuff like that was for those. And what kind of income. So broker fees here, you have one account here that
for everyone who's not who's somehow interested in the data but doesn't want to deal with like sheets and stuff, BitHump also has a volume aggregation. So if you go to bithump.com, then hit the NFT section and then check for volumes, you can separate by issue, brokers, and currencies, all time, month, day, week. So this gives you a pretty good idea on what's happening on the ledger.
Yeah, BitHump is doing a great job there too. Yeah,
because not everyone might be like, oh yeah, let me dig into data real deep. So it's probably more like, let's have a quick overlook on what's happening.
Oh yeah, 100% correct. Thomas, thank you so much for your insights and for the analytics and the prepared charts. We're always keen to look at those because I think you're very famous for your visualizations and analytics. So thank you so much.
Thank you, and I'll just like to extend an invitation to anybody who's listening and need insights in the data on the ledger in terms of making decisions or informed decisions on what approach they want to take with their projects and stuff like that. I'm always available on Twitter and Discord and places like that.
Perfect.
Yeah,
awesome.
I can only second that. So I do this quite often. So I just ask Thomas, hey, can you give me the data for X? And it saves a lot of time. It's like a little Thomas GBT. So if you have a question to get some data, that's always awesome.
That's why I mute you 12 hours a day.
No, that's not true. You know that. 4 a.m. in the morning, still getting a reply. So,
so it's good to see that we can go to the next section, which is amendments and fixes. And I think we're going to get Nixer up here. Yeah, we're going to talk about amendments and fixes, in particular the fixed non-fungible tokens V1_2. And we have Nixer up here. So Nixer is also the founder of XRPL.services, very, very, very famous and known service on the XRPL and very important one, huge service. And good to have him up here talking about the fixed non-fungible tokens. Yeah.
While we wait on Nixer, I'm not too deep into the amendments at this point because I haven't paid too much attention. I just read the broad overview. Is there anything in the current amendment that's your highlight, like something? Oh yeah, we waited for this.
Yeah. So actually, I want to highlight that the fixed non-fungible tokens V1_2, the fix, is a packaged amendment. So there are multiple fixes included in that one, and it's also been contributed by a lot of community contributors to the code. So that was really nice to see the community contributing to it to this amendment as well. The highlight for me personally, of course, is the broker fix. The broker fixes. There are two in particular. One is the self-brokering, where a broker can basically sell and buy and sell you the same NFT in your account, so the NFT is not moving, but broker fees are extracted. And the other one, of course, is the fix where a broker could broker a transaction where a destination tag was set, okay, but the account in the destination tag is the buyer account. If the destination account is also the buyer account, the broker can come in and broker it. Shouldn't be actually possible because it's already occupied, the destination tag. And this is in particular an issue with NFT transfers, because this is always when I transfer you an NFT, I put your address into my destination and in the destination tag. And if you happen to have an open offer, a buy offer in that sense, for that NFT that I'm about to send you, a broker can come in and broker it. You're not losing the NFT, but broker fees are extracted. And this one is very, very annoying because I think it's over 25 or 30,000 XRP so far that has been extracted that way. So yeah, I'm very happy to see that one being included, and it's already picking up votes by UNL validators.
Yeah, glad you mentioned
22%.
Glad you mentioned the amount, because I was about to ask, do we have any numbers on how much was lost that way? So 25, 35.
Yeah, there's in particular one account that seems to exploit or look for this, but I've seen this account. It looks as it's not intentionally actually. It tries to broker everything, and sometimes it brokers the issue or the bug in that sense, and is successful, which is annoying because you see a lot of failed transactions, failed attempts with this one. So it's a very raw bot in that sense. But yeah, I think from that account alone, I think 27 to 30,000 XRP I've seen. Other accounts I've not seen, but you can probably add a couple thousand on top of it as well. Yeah. But we will come to this when we talk about the what you can do. So in the meantime, as the amendment is not yet passed, I think right now it's at 20 to 23%. Validators and nodes are updating the nodes, so we got to be careful, also not to rush to that.
Yeah, it seems like Nixer can't get his tech fixed at the moment, so we're gonna give him a few more minutes. Because the stuff is really interesting. We'd love to talk about that. So while we're waiting, should we not then just skip over to the point where you're gonna give people a couple of hints for safe practices?
Yes, sure. So I think highlighting here again is NFT offer hygiene. I've been calling this. On the XRPL offers do persist in that sense if you don't cancel them, so they don't get canceled by themselves if they are not traded successfully, and you as a user before or until the fix is at least up, I can highly just suggest you to always cancel your offers. If you don't use them or not aware of them, you can go to several, I think almost all marketplaces and X apps by individual developers like Short2FOMO. He has a Flush app. In ZOM, just go there, clean your offers, and just always be aware of what offers you have open. And I mentioned that it is always the case, or very often the case with the NFT transfer. So when I gift you a transfer, an NFT, it's usually at 0 XRP sale. Just make sure that the counterparty you're sending to canceled all buy offers. So before you do it, just check with the person, tell them, hey, please cancel all your offers for the NFT that I'm about to send you, just to be very secure in that sense. And then you should be not affected by this. By this one. With the self-brokering, this is also annoying. I have no numbers for this regarding how much XRP got extracted there or made profit. But here is, if you have, again, offers, do cancel them because offers are on the NFT. So if you get an NFT or you put a lot of offers for a same NFT, I put 10 offers, 2 get accepted, I get the NFT offer and I try to sell it, then you have to remember the other 8 that you had open before you got the NFT. So you have now a buy offer and sell offer open for the NFT in your account, and this is a perfect condition for a broker. They will come in and broker the NFT, which means you just get extracted by XRP, which is annoying. So again, make sure always to clean your offers. Don't have multiple offers for the same NFT open if you don't need it anymore. Just be aware of them. So then you will be safe in that regard.
Would it also be a good advice for people till the amendment is through that they don't use offers that don't expire?
Yeah, if you use offers that don't expire, then as I said, they don't expire. You have to cancel them, and you need to be aware of them. We have seen a lot of people getting, Thomas mentioned the initial wave in hype. So people created a lot of offers, and now mostly when we get asked or I get message, hey, can you help me with this? And we look back, or I look back, the problematic offers are from November, like the first week when they created an offer and forgot about that it even exists. So yeah, make sure to cancel all of them. They do not get canceled by themselves. And I think all marketplaces so far, and as I said, also the X apps by Short2FOMO or other ones, and I don't know any other except in that sense that do that. But yeah, they show all offers. This is important. Something that shows you all offers and that you can cancel them. Yeah.
Well, I think Nixter's still not done, and looking a bit on the time, I'm not sure how much time the PSys guys had in their calendars. Should we skip over to the EVM bridge stuff for now,
Yeah.
and then come back to this? So
Yeah.
and then we can then, once the official time is over, we can come back to the NFT stuff and discuss the stuff that's open.
Let's do that. Okay, let's do that.
So you want to do the introduction for PSys?
You can go ahead.
Well, then let's talk a bit about EVM bridges. So we have Dan from Ripple and the PSys team here. So it would be nice if everyone could give a short introduction of themselves, and then we can jump right into the topic. I see Farron from PSys is already up. I don't see Dan, I think. I also see Adria. Hope I pronounced this correct. Why don't we start with you guys?
Sure. So, hey everyone, and thanks for having us here. It's our first time on these community calls. I'm Farhan. I'm the CEO of PSys Technology, and I'm happy to be here to help answer some of the questions related with the EVM sidechain project.
Hello everyone. I'm very happy to be here. I'm Adria. I'm the CTO of PSys Technology. I'm the one leading the development team behind the EVM sidechain. And I'm very happy to discuss with you and answer any questions that you may have.
Yeah, great. So for anyone not familiar with EVM bridges, can you give us a short, briefly explanation of what you guys are doing?
Sure, Daniel. So basically, since last year, we started building an EVM compatible sidechain. I think most of the people here will know what's the EVM, but the Ethereum Virtual Machine, it's basically a compatibility where you can run and deploy smart contracts, Ethereum smart contracts, which is the most used standard right now in the industry, right? So the point here, there is many implementations possible. What we wanted to do is a chain that it's a parent chain from the main XRP ledger chain that obviously have XRP as its main token, but it supports these EVM capabilities. So then the XRPL community can extend its functionalities and use a smart contract as well. So for that, for having this parent chain, obviously it's not something that you can implement directly on top of the main chain. So you need a bridge to bridge those assets from one point to another. Basically, because you cannot modify the supply of XRPs. So we need to control that the total XRPs are the same, and if some are in the sidechain, then they are not available in the main chain, and vice versa. So that's the main project.
So what was your main motivation to build this? So to go into the business of building bridges?
It's not a very motivating project in terms of security, let's say, because bridges are very complex. It has a lot of, around one of the top innovations during the last 2-3 years. So obviously it's something complicated, but in the same way, it's from an engineering point of view, we are mainly an engineering company. So I think it's a very interesting project and software to build. There have been bridges and other projects similar like that from a couple of years ago, and I think they all, or most of them, reached a very solid and stable position in the last 1-2 years. So I think it's a good moment to do that. And the main motivation here, basically, it was like, as a developers and as a blockchain developers and contributors to the XRPL ecosystem, we always found that there is a lot of things that you can do on XRPL that it's very good on doing, but in the same time, it lacks some capabilities that are available in other ecosystems, thanks to the Turing complete virtual machine that has Ethereum, that is not available on XRPL. So basically, it's if we can help expand these capabilities, then I think it could attract the attention of many developers from other protocols, or even for the XRPL developers, give them new tools in order to build new applications and new trends in the industry.
Would you say that's the biggest benefit of running an EVM sidechain for the XRPL?
Well, actually, I think it's that it's helping grow the community, right? I think XRPL, it's the third biggest fund in the ecosystem in terms of market cap. Bitcoin, it's almost impossible to deploy something there. And then you have Ethereum, then you have Binance, and then you have XRPL. So I think all the companies, all the protocols, and most of the projects should be interested in launching here. There are many protocols launching in top 30, top 40 ecosystem, right? So why you will not like to launch in a top 3 ecosystem? So I think that the main reason for that is that most of the research and most of the development, it's happening on the EVM right now, because most of the blockchain, if you launch something on the EVM, you capture like 80% of the market or something around that. So basically, I think that's why most of the innovation is happening there. Also, it provides more capabilities. So I think if we are able to provide these capabilities to the XRPL, then all these ecosystems can launch here as well. So if you look, for example, OpenSea, in the last big trend in the industry on NFTs, they support NFTs on Ethereum, they support NFTs on Polygon, they support NFTs on many chains, because it's the same contracts, it's the same structure, it's just changing the chain ID, right? But obviously, it's very difficult for them to support on XRPL. Actually, these standards take a year or more to be able to implement it here. So if we have an infrastructure that supports these smart contracts, then whether any innovation is happening, it doesn't matter if it starts here or it starts in another ecosystem. It can be deployed in one afternoon in our ecosystem as well. So everyone is benefited from that. And I think it can bring a lot of software and attention and usability to the XRPL.
So you guys leading of course, you're leading the development for your own stuff, but given the legal implications that we're currently seeing, this is probably a combined question. So you're not only developing this, you will operate it. Is there a potential that a bridge is like an MSB, so money service business? Are you guys holding funds in custody? And are there any licenses you need to obtain to operate this on a global scale?
Very good question, Daniel. Unfortunately, I'm not really expert in the legal side, but I don't think it's obvious still yet that we will operate anything. So obviously we didn't start even looking on that. We may be one potential operator because we know the tech and obviously we can maintain a node potentially, but it's not very clear still how these nodes will be operated, who will have the rights, how will go all these in terms of security, in terms of responsibilities. I think we are still in a development stage, let's say, and all these questions and all these things didn't arise. So from our point of view, obviously we are trying right now on the tech perspective to build a tech that solves most of these problems. One way to solve these problems is to build a decentralized bridge. So if the bridge is decentralized, then potentially many people can run it, or there is no intermediary. It's not any centralized entity that has these guarantees and has a profit or anything on that. So if we build a decentralized bridge, then, for example, a lot of these problems are already solved. So this is what we are doing. We are still developing the tech, and we try to project all these potential potential issues that later has to be solved from a legal point of view and solving it from a tech perspective. So there is no need to do that.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Matt.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you spoke about the developing and focusing on the technical side. What are from your perspective the challenges that you guys are facing? Do you see or do you plan already some improvements in terms of amendments that you guys want to propose that you need for your bridge, or something like this along the lines, and maybe also to prevent excessive transactions from the technical side? What do you see there?
Yeah, actually there are a bunch of problems. It's not an easy development. That maybe Adria will be able to explain better. But in resume, there are a couple of problems in the chain part. It's not easy to start a chain from zero when it comes from a chain that is already active, right? In a main chain, because you can get very easily having problems about 51% attacks. What happens if someone enters the first into the network or breaches a lot of money and then make a 51% attack? There is a Genesis distribution problem as well when you start the network. If there is no validators, how incentivize validators to make sure that the chain is running and it's producing blocks, and how we can make it very easy for everyone to access in the same terms and conditions just to start. So all those things are fairly complicated and can be solved by exploring different consensus types in the algorithms. That it's something that we are researching a lot and trying to solve those problems from a technical point of view. From the bridge side as well, I think the main issue we had was basically that since XRPL doesn't have an EVM on top of that, it's very difficult to build the bridge that it's fully decentralized, right? So for example, if you want to make a bridge from Polygon to Ethereum, there are some smart contracts that are already done, that are already audited, and it's far more easy to make a decentralized bridge. But if you want to make it on top of XRPL, then you need to play with the pre-built features, which are the core features that provide you this decentralization. So so far, I think with the features we already have approved, it was fairly complicated to do that, but we didn't want to make just by ourselves a new amendment for that. So I think what we are focusing is on trying to adapt our technical details in order to use the current amendments or amendments that are in progress. So we have zero impact, but we can benefit from that. Maybe, Drea, you want to explain a little bit more about this part?
Yeah, basically there's an ongoing amendment called cross-chain transactions, which are including new transactions that will allow us to create a more distributed bridge. It's not fully decentralized yet, but it will allow basically to split the responsibility into multiple nodes that will act like a signal list, let's say. And those nodes will have the responsibility of committing attestations to both chains. So once a witness knows and listens for an event, he will be able to attest his own attestation on the other chain. And basically, once these attestations reach a consensus, this bridge transaction will be made. This is in terms of the bridges, and in terms of the challenges that we are focusing or having on the sidechain, as Ferran said, it's basically how we design the network mechanisms that will allow us to make consensus and to replicate kind of the UNL that we have in the main chain that's working very well. So how we replicate this UNL into our sidechain, and how do we launch this network in a safe and secure way?
Yeah, I wanna wanna jump on this again and pedal a bit back. So just to clarify this, you're technically building like let's call it proof of concept, right? You're dealing with the tech and how this could work and how everything is done. There haven't been that much time on the legal side of things to make sure how this can be operated from a legal point of view. Even if we say, well, this is all decentralized, which is a term people not want to say hide, but it's like dodging a few bullets by saying, well, this is all decentralized. We just built this, it's running. Everyone can participate. There are a couple of questions that come to mind. So how are you dealing with signer lists? Who is running a validator/witness? What's the process of becoming a validator/witness? Can everyone run a validator or witness? What's the requirement to run one, right? So in terms of like other chains I'm currently working with, is there is a hard process on what you can do to become a witness, what exactly your job is, what are the legal requirements, what's the KYC level. People have to get vetted, like due diligence. If you are a PEP, so politically exposed person, are you on a sanctions list, all that kind of stuff. Because while it's nice to have a working solution, people who want to run a validator or witness server need to know what they're getting into. So what's the process around that?
Yeah, that's a very good question, Daniel. I think we are almost entering into this phase. So right now we did tech because it was, first of all, you need to make a secure bridge, because if you make a wrong tech, even if people want to operate it, if it had books, it's a problem, right? So it's not that trivial. It took a while, but I think we are entering into a phase of maturity on the bridge, on the chain, that obviously still needs audits and a lot of security things that we'll do to make sure that it's working properly. But this will be more advanced right now, and I think it's the right moment to start having these discussions. I think we still need to define a last points, because it's not very clear. We don't want to say, okay, the chain will have maybe this consensus mechanism, so the ways to operate or the things you need to do to operate is this list, and then changing to another consensus because it has risks, since like 51% attack or distribution mechanism, etc., and then changing the list, etc. So I think the first point here is deciding which is the final solution, let's say, which is the solution that creates less problems or creates less difficulties, and with that then will be the moment of deciding how we motivate, how we onboard people, how we participate. What we have in mind is to make it as every time as much open as possible. In the same time, we keep the security, obviously, because I don't think it's anyone's best interest. But yeah, I think we are still a little bit early stage for that.
Yeah, that's really great. There is also a question regarding the other maybe options of bridging. Are you guys exploring other ways, or did you guys explore already and come to the conclusion this is probably the best way to do it, or what was the thought process of selecting a bridging option or a process for that for you guys?
I think in terms of options for bridging, there is not many discussion. It's as much open and much secure and distributed as possible, the better. As much decentralized as possible as well. So there is not many ways to do it without using the exchange mechanism or transaction specifically to do that. So yeah, I think that's we made a couple of implementations in different languages. We made the JavaScript. Right now we made a Go implementation that it's far more efficient and secure. So I think in terms of performance, it has been some improves. But in terms of bridge, I think this is clearly one of the best options. This is designed just for that. So
another interesting thing is, besides, you will have some tooling for the community to test things out and play around with it. Are you guys in conversations with someone who will do a code audit?
a code audit?
Yeah. Like, is there any reputable third party which will go over the code and look for potential flaws and exploits?
Yeah, actually, it's also the milestones for this next weeks, months. It's to start that. Once the bridge is almost ready or it's very advanced. We have a couple of models on the chain that will be working well. Once we finish these last details, let's say, obviously it's impossible to launch anything without proper audits. So we will be in the stage of auditing that. We don't have still a selected company, let's say, but we'll make sure to communicate that once we have. But yeah, audit is mandatory for launching a bridge and for launching a chain.
I'm gonna have to go back to this again because I just got the question. So once you have your development sorted, right, and you are in an open stage where people can contribute to whatever you're doing, and you have put some effort into figuring out what the legal implications are, will you guys keep the community and the public posted about what legal implications are? Because in case that's not clear to everyone who's listening, and I have to stress this out again, just for the sake of developer protection, even if it's decentralized, if you're running a validator, there are, depending on your jurisdiction, a couple of legal things you need to obey. So getting a lawyer is probably the first best tip, and then being very clear about what you're operating and how this works. So it would be good if you guys could keep the community posted about what your legal findings are, and if you did go for a legal opinion, and what markets are safe to operate from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, finally, Daniel. I think it's like we are a fully regulated company, and obviously one of the first things we need to do is, once the tech is ready, figure out what's the implications on that. And obviously, for anyone that wants to run a node or to run a validator, etc., we'll find out which are these implications and keep the community posted. If it's something open and we want to encourage people to run this, obviously we will need to make sure that people it's complementary with that. But yeah, that's the path.
Yeah, and in terms of probably also attracting developers and getting people to build or making it attractive. What features or amendments do you see that could be on that sidechain that do not exist on the main chain for the EVM sidechain?
Oh wow! Well, there's a lot of things actually. If you see any of the all the applications that are in the market, it's true that there is many concrete features, let's say, on the main chain, which is really good. But the main chain, it's not allowing you this Turing complete, let's say, development. You cannot build smart contracts with the code you want. So, for example, it's very difficult to make the Decentraland on top of the main chain, right? But it can be done on EVM. So this is one of the features, but actually it's almost infinite, right? Like people can build whatever they want on top of the EVM with its. Obviously, it has its limitations. So I'm not like I don't want to say that everything is possible there, but it's a Turing complete coding language. So then you can code whatever you want, independent of the features you have. So, like for example, any people that develops in a smart contract, this could be like an amendment, right? How many smart contracts are developed or deployed on the EVM chains versus how many amendments are there. So the possibilities increase significantly, and time will tell, and we'll figure out what are the new innovations and the deployments. We knew that there is a couple of projects already working on the sidechain, making some proof of concepts, basically on DeFi and NFTs as well. But I think probably when we go to the testnet and we go to a more stable versions, we will have more people engaged to see what's in there that it's not already in the main chain.
Yeah. So we see especially Ethereum native or Ethereum network native developers, smart contract developers, that they get maybe promoted to go to Polygon or these layer 2 solutions that try to have their own unique features and to attract people to this layer. Or you see this with Flare and other EVM based networks. For those developers out there who are usually only on the Ethereum network, what would be the benefit to come to the EVM sidechain? Do you see that there are some unique features for people to come over, or is it the more easier way to come to the XRPL because of the bridge that you provide? There is no bridge from Polygon or from ETH to XRPL, but the sidechain would have it. But yeah, for those ETH native developers developing smart contracts there, coming to the EVM sidechain, what would be a nice unique feature or features to come?
So I think the main benefit, I repeat in my mind, the main benefit of being on this sidechain is that XRPL is a top 3 ecosystem, right?
Yes.
Most of the chains, in terms of usage, if you use Polygon or if you use the Aurora from Near or use BNB sidechain, what difference you have in terms of user experience every day? Almost zero. I think are more in differences in behind, but they are already very good protocols. In our case, we use the best solution in the market, which is Tendermint and Cosmos SDK to build that. I think it's a very similar solution as the Binance Smart Chain. So basically, one of the best things we have is that the fees are so low. I think the fees are even lower than the main chain, the main XRP chain. The transactions per second could be equal or even higher, and you still keep XRP as the main issue, the main token. So you can pay the fees with XRPs, and you are attached in terms of investment, let's say, or in terms of tokenomics to the same ecosystem. You always will be able to exchange these XRPs one-on-one. So this is very attractive. Then if we are a top 3 and a very big community, it's something very cool. And I think actually one of the great points here is the layer 1, actually, because a lot of people maybe will come because it's the 3rd ecosystem, and obviously it's from a business point of view, it's very interesting to deploy your things here. But the difference of XRP than Polygon or other chains is that you also can go through the bridge to a layer 1 with a unique, feature-rich chain, very focused on payments, very secure. It has it has 10 years running, which is something very valuable. People doesn't used to value this a lot, but a chain that has been running for 2 years, maybe faster, and can be very good, but it has not been exposed to the same attacks as a chain like XRPL, which has 10 years and has been on the top all the time. So this is something that it's very attractive and very different from other ecosystems, and finally will grab attention for all these people.
No, this is great. Greatly answered. I think what also for many people who provide infrastructure, obviously on XRPL, and for the whole network users who see this amendment or what's coming, basically, or proposed, actually I should say, is the implications regarding maybe transactions. Okay, so for the NFTs or for XS20, if I want to transfer an NFT, there's always 2 transactions: you create it and you accept it. Where on EVM-based chains, you would just send the NFT. You don't have to accept it. So there is more transaction involved. Can you make an assessment of how many transactions would be involved in a single bridge? So I want to bridge something back and forth. Maybe how many transactions on the main chain XRPL would be needed to facilitate this?
Yeah. So for one single transaction, let's say for doing one path, because it's the same. If you go from the main chain to the side chain, then going from the side chain to the main chain, it's the same transactions. So for going just forward, you have to create a claim ID on the side chain, which is a transaction that basically creates an account object that you hold, and you will be able to claim the final attestation, let's say. And then there's one transaction on the original chain called commit, cross-chain commit transaction. Once you do the commit, the witness server will read this commit, will process it, and will send an attestation with the claim ID that you have created. And with this claim ID object, then you will be able to get the funds that you sent on the commit transaction. That's one possibility, and the other one, it's just doing one transaction, because if the first time that you are going to the sidechain, you won't have funds on the sidechain, so you will need funds there. And there's another transaction called cross-chain create account transaction, and this transaction allows you to send just one transaction from the main chain and receive the funds on the destination chain.
So in terms of numbers, Adria, it's like there is 2 options. One, it's 1 transaction, and the other one, it's 2 transactions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Well, let me go back on one thing you said before, because just to clarify on that, basically, kind of what you're saying is that the EVM sidechain is a bit better or even superior than the XRPL, which then leads me to the question: then why build it for the XRPL in the first place?
Well, I don't think it's superior. I'm sorry if I communicated like that, or if someone understood that. It's different. I don't think it's superior. The superiority of a chain, it can be measured by many ways, right? But one of the ways is adoption. One of the days of those is usage. Then also you can have transactions per second. Many parts, right? But for example, XRPL, it's it's the main chain. It's top 3, top 5, and there is blockchains that are more scalable and they have more capabilities that are top 40. So I don't think they are superior. I don't think there is a superior or non-superior chain. I obviously think that the main chain will remain the main. This is why it's the main, and most of the volume, most of the assets, and most of the activity will happen there. The sidechain is just an extension of capabilities. If we could, include the EVM on top of the main chain, that will be even better. But that's very difficult to do that. So basically, we need to do a sidechain that provides this capability. So then, if people want to use this capability there, that's the place, and it will have its own storage and validators and infrastructure, because there is no other way to do that. But I don't think that it will replace the main chain. It doesn't make any sense, because there is many other chains with probably better conditions, and for example, Near, it's top 40, and it has like 40,000 transactions per second and a very feature-rich capabilities, and it's like 40 positions later, right? So I think the main chain will remain the main chain. I think it's very secure, it's very efficient, it's very good for what it's being conceived, which is making payments. transacting value and using these pre-built features, I think over the time we will be able to keep doing amendments and increase these features in a very scalable way. That's a very good project. Meanwhile, I think it's good to have a sidechain or a place where we keep on track with the rest of the ecosystem, with the rest of innovations, and we don't lose some opportunities, and we keep attracting as a door of attracting other ecosystem developers that I feel that most of the research and the development fall on the EVM in the last years, and I think it's a very good way to encourage people to discover this ecosystem and then contribute more even in the main chain as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure that that's clear, because it could have been taken in by people in a different way. Looking a bit of at the time, so we're already 20 minutes over, which I don't mind, but don't want to have Ron, who's also coming up to talk, wait too long. I think let's wrap it up with like just two closing questions from my side. That will be, where can developers that are looking to do something go for now, so they can have a look and see if they are interested to build something? And what's your time estimation for finishing the code, getting the code audit done, and dealing with the legal implications, just as like a ballpark estimation?
Mm-hmm. That's a difficult one. So from the first point, there is still open these links, EVM sidechain.xrpl.org. I think it's the link. People can go there, can deploy smart contracts. I think ways of learning Solidity, it's like it will be thousands or hundreds of guides and tutorials everywhere. There is a lot of documentation on that. I think we are also planning internally to make some guides and to make some communication as well to onboard XRPL community to this new language and these new capabilities. But mainly there is a lot of things there, so I don't think it will be a big problem for that. They can test it there, and if we launch an update with our newest codes for the chain and for the bridge, we will publish from our Twitter. So people will be posted probably on our website as well, and then they can deploy things in the latest version. In terms of timings, that's a difficult question because it may vary a lot depending if the audit is fantastic in the first part, or maybe we need to fix many things, right? So it's very difficult to predict. In terms of legal as well, it's impossible for me to predict because I'm an engineer and not a lawyer. But we will start on this right now. So I hope in I don't know, in the next 3-6 months, I don't know exactly the timings, but it's something we are very committed. We have a full-time team on that. So I hope in the next months, as short as possible, it's becoming processed. But we will announce as well once every time we have information on the designing model, on the audits process, and the legal conditions. We are the first interested in engage people and onboard people. So as soon as we have information, we will let the community know.
This is awesome. Just one more thing, because I've seen this. People, it's part of the engagement and people coming to deploy and develop smart contracts. I see this on the Discord channel very often, that people ask for the eXRP, I think. So sending XRP and then to get the currency on the EVM sidechain. How is this working? Because I know it's on DevNet right now. Do people send you XRP, or how does it work for people? Just to inform everybody.
Yeah. So right now, there is a centralized bridge that basically what is doing is you send DevNet XRP to the bridge, and the bridge sends to your MetaMask eXRP. So we are not doing anything. People can bridge as much XRPs as they want. To get DevNet XRPs, you can go to the XRPL faucet. If you type on Google XRPL faucet, it's like there is an option which is DevNet. account. It gives you an account. You can import this account to Chum Wallet. From Chum Wallet, then you can connect it to the bridge, send that transfer to the bridge, and you get on MetaMask. It's still a little, complex in terms of usability, but it's not a very big deal. Maybe we will try to have someone from our team or habilitate some faucet and bridge some DevNet tokens in advance, so people can just claim a couple because the fees are so low. So you can just claim 10 XRPs or something like that, EXRPs, and play with that. Anyway, I think with the new versions as well, we'll probably it will probably be more easy from a development perspective. We may include the faucet automatically, so you just click the bridge transaction and then you get EXRPs without having to make all the creation before. So we'll try to improve that as well.
Awesome, perfect. I just want to re-emphasize. You said DevNet XRP, so please only send DevNet XRP. Maybe to make this clear, maybe also somewhere in the documentation, just send DevNet XRP, nothing else.
Yes, please. We put a banner. Thanks the foundation for the recommendation. The bridge is called devnet.bridge, like in the domain, but it's still some confusion because in the UI it's not showing it properly. So right now we added a banner, making it very clear that it's only DevNet. So you need to go through this process. Don't send mainnet funds because it may result in lost.
Awesome. So this was Persist. Thank you guys for joining and explaining and facing all the questions from the community. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think we're gonna add some links to contact Persist somewhere on the recording. So feel free to engage with them. Sorry for cutting this off so hard, but I think that's what we're gonna have to do next time. We shouldn't put too many separate topics into one call because it's almost impossible to get this done in an hour or even 2 hours. I think it's time for us to wrap it up, right?
Yep.
Matt, you wanna give a summary or your insights on what we have discussed?
Yeah, sure. So again, thank you everybody for coming first, and I think very important to say also Apex was announced by Scott. It's going to be September 6th to 8th in Amsterdam. And we went over the NFTs. We went over nice metrics presented by Thomas. Also linked. We're going to link everything. The call is also recorded. We went over the marketplace site. We went also over the amendment fixes that are right now in Ripple D 1.10.0. We also went with Persist over the EVM bridges. I think many questions were asked. That was really good as well. So it was the third community call. I think it was really good. Lots of participation in the comment section.
Yep. So just my last thoughts on this before we wrap it up and kick everyone out. NFT adoption is a bit lagging. It's not what we anticipated, but it's picking up, so we will get there. More solutions are available, more services, people actively building. It's just about getting the word out and draw some normal people in, right? Because this call is usually focused more towards developers. So we need to build better tooling, a better UX, UI, better tools for interacting with the ledger when it comes to NFTs. Guess a lot of people are excited for the EVM side of things. However, I think there is a lot of homework that needs to be done before we can really see this in action, but I think we made that clear. Excited for the last Ripple D patch. Have to go through all the amendments and cast my votes.
Yeah.
And other than that, thanks for your time. If people have any suggestions about what we should talk or who we should invite or any other suggestions about how we could do things better, feel free to reach out and let us know.
Yeah, please.
Other than that, have a nice day. See you next time.
Thank you, everybody.